Only 1 in 4 households have a Roth IRA, and 1/3 of Roth IRA owners are under the age 40. This is a problem, so in this video I'm going to talk about how Roth IRAs work and why you should open and start funding one if you haven't already. IRAs are individual retirement accounts, not to be confused with 401ks, which are employer-sponsored retirement accounts. It's not either or, you can and should have both, but contributing to the IRA first should be the priority since you have more control over this account. You might be asking yourself, should I even be investing in a retirement account if I don't think I will ever be able to retire? The answer resoundingly is yes, and I'll explain why after briefly explaining how Roth IRAs work. Since your IRA is not tied to your employer, you can pick any provider you want. I like Fidelity and Vanguard, but setting up an IRA with any provider should only take about 5 minutes. When you're setting the account up, you'll have to decide between opening a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. If you go the traditional route, your contributions will reduce your taxable income in the year that you contribute, meaning you get a tax break. The money in the account will go tax deferred, and we say deferred because you're not paying taxes on it now, you're deferring the taxes to the future, and then you'll pay income taxes on your withdrawals after 59 and a half. This is generally a good strategy to go if you're a high income earner and you're going to have a lower tax rate in retirement. With Roth contributions, you're funding the account with dollars that have already been taxed. The money will grow tax-free and it will come out tax-free after 59 and a half. An added bonus of the Roth IRA is that you can withdraw your contributions at any time without penalty. So this also allows us to treat the Roth IRA as an emergency fund. I used to think it was better to fund a distinct emergency fund before investing, but I've recently changed my mind on this. If you delay putting your money into the stock market because you're saving up cash for an emergency event that might never happen, there's going to be a cost of opportunity loss associated with delaying getting into the market. My main argument against using the Roth IRA as an emergency fund is what happens if there's an emergency during a market downturn and you have to sell off depreciated assets? Well, considering these things that we're saving up the emergency fund for might never happen, I think it's likely that the cost of opportunity loss is going to be greater than the cost of selling depreciated assets. 1 in 4 households have no retirement savings, and over 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck and stressed about their finances. Clearly, something has to change. With 67% of Roth IRA owners being over the age of 40, more younger people need to get on the Roth IRA train. Taxes eat away at our return, and time is the most valuable resource that we can't buy more of. So it's critical that we get as much tax-free dollars invested as early as possible. Albert Einstein once said, "Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it." Compounding is powerful, but it takes time. You'll notice these first few years are boring and don't show much growth. That's why it's important that we get these boring junk years out of the way early. Compound interest will take off like a rocket ship, and it's better that this happens sooner rather than later. For 2024, if you're under the age 50, you can put $7,000 into your Roth IRA this year. If you put $7,000 in this year and then never ever touch it again, after 25 years, your account will be worth about $50,000. Instead, if you contribute $7,000 this year and $7,000 each of the next 4 years, for $35,000 of total contributions, after that same 25-year time frame, your account will be worth a little over $200,000. An extra $28,000 of contributions made the difference between $50,000 and over $200,000 because those extra contributions had plenty of time to grow. If you invest $7,000 every year for the next 25 years, your account will be worth a little over $550,000. And you might be thinking, $500,000 in 25 years is not going to be what $500,000 is worth today. And you're absolutely right. And this is why it's all the more important that we get as much money invested as possible. I mentioned at the start that it's still worth investing in a retirement account even if you don't think you're going to be able to retire. You don't need to leave your job to pull money out of your IRA, so it's not like the money is forfeit because you can't afford to officially retire. Also, sometimes leaving the workforce isn't our choice. Layoffs, sickness, injuries, or having to serve as a caretaker for another person can take us away from our jobs. We shouldn't assume that we're always going to have a job. Nothing in life is guaranteed except for death and taxes.
Death and taxes?
Yes.
Death and taxes?
Yes.
But an odd pairing.
You're going to need money in your older age regardless, so it's much better to let younger you and the compounding effects of time provide that money for older you, instead of older you having to work harder and with more stress. You should probably leave the money in your Roth IRA as long as possible to let it grow as large as possible, but keep in mind if at some point you decide investing in your Roth IRA is no longer the best use of your money, you can withdraw your contributions at any time. Households with IRAs have a median net worth about 9 times higher than households without IRAs. Wealth generally isn't created very suddenly. It's usually the compounding result of many small decisions and behaviors over time. Deciding to open and fund a Roth IRA early on is one of the best decisions that you can make to set your future self up for financial success and a less stressed life. We humans are marvelously stress adaptive, but there's a big difference between constructive stress and destructive stress. Going to the gym and working out is a constructive stress, but being stressed and nervous and absolutely dependent on your next paycheck is a destructive stress. Choose to make decisions that lead to growth and the reduction of destructive stress. I use Fidelity, and in my Roth IRA, most of my account is invested into VTI, my favorite low-cost total market index fund. Over the long term that I'm investing, a total market index fund or an S&P 500 index fund is going to outperform anything else. A very, very small percentage of my Roth IRA is in individual stocks because it's fun to try and beat the market, but most of my account is in index funds because I know I'm not smart enough to beat the market. It's super important to plant the seed of the Roth IRA as early as possible so that it has time to grow into this big, beautiful tree with lots of tax-free shade. If we trim it too much while it's young, it's not going to grow as large. Be patient, consistent, ignore the short-term bullshit noise, don't panic sell, and focus on the big picture, making decisions now that will set your future self up for financial success while still enjoying your life in the present. You deserve it. Do you have a Roth IRA? Will you max it out this year? Do you think that treating a Roth IRA as an emergency fund is a bad thing? Where does this account fit in alongside other kinds of investment accounts? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching.